Welcome to gcready.com. Let us see some of the questions on PL/SQL. What is PL/SQL? PL/SQL stands for Procedural Language Extension to SQL. It supports procedural features of programming language and SQL both. It was developed by Oracle Corporation in early of 90s to enhance the capabilities of SQL. What is PL/SQL table? Why it is used? Objects of type tables are called PL/SQL tables that are modeled as database table. We can also say that PL/SQL tables are a way to providing arrays. Arrays are like temporary tables in memory that are processed very quickly. PL/SQL tables are used to move bulk data. They simplifies moving collections of data. Mention what PL/SQL package consists of. A PL/SQL package consists of PL/SQL table and record type statements, procedures and functions, cursors, variables and constants, exception names and pragmas for relating an error number with an exception, and cursors. Mention what are the benefits of PL/SQL packages. It provides several benefits like enforced information hiding. It offers the liberty to choose whether to keep the data private or public. Top-down design. You can design the interface to the code hidden in the package before you actually implement the modules themselves. Object persistence. Objects declared in a package specification behaves like a global data for all PL/SQL objects in the application. You can modify the package in one module and then reference those changes to another module. Object-oriented design. The package gives the developers strong hold over how the modules and data structures inside the package can be used. Guaranteeing transaction integrity. It provides a level of transaction integrity. Performance improvement. The RDBMS automatically tracks the validity of all the program objects stored in the database and enhance the performance of packages. Explain the uses of cursor. Cursor is a named private area in SQL from which information can be accessed. They are required to process each row individually for queries which return the multiple rows. Explain the uses of database trigger. A PL/SQL program unit associated with a particular database table is called a database trigger. It is used for audit data modifications, log events transparently, enforce complex business rules, maintain replica tables, derive the column values, implement the complex security authorizations. What are the data types available in PL/SQL? There are two types of data types in PL/SQL: scalar data types, composite data types. Scalar data types examples are number, varchar, date, char, long, boolean, etc. Composite data types examples are record, table, etc. What is the basic structure of PL/SQL? PL/SQL uses block structure as its basic structure. Each PL/SQL program consists of SQL and PL/SQL statement which form a PL/SQL block. PL/SQL block contains three sections. They are the declaration section, optional; the execution section, it is mandatory; and the exception handling section, it is optional. What is the difference between function, procedure, and package in PL/SQL? Function. The main purpose of a PL/SQL function is generally to compute and return a single value. A function has a return type in its specification and must return a value specified in that type. Procedure. A procedure does not have a return type and should not return any value, but it can have a return statement that simply stops its execution and returns to the caller. A procedure is used to return multiple values, otherwise it is generally similar to a function. Package. A package is schema object which groups logically related PL/SQL types, items, and subprograms. You can also say that it is a group of functions, procedure, variables, and record type statement. It provides modularity. Due to this facility, it aids application development. It is used to hide the information from unauthorized users. What is exception? What are the types of exceptions? Error handling part of PL/SQL block is called exception. There are two types: user-defined and predefined. How exception is different from error? Whenever an error occurs, exception rises. Error is a bug, whereas exception is a warning or error condition. What is the main reason behind using an index? The main reason behind using an index is faster access of data blocks in the table. What is the maximum number of triggers you can apply on a single table? A maximum of 12 triggers can be applied to one table. How many types of triggers exist in PL/SQL? There are 12 types of triggers in PL/SQL that contains the combination of before, after, row, table, insert, update, delete, and all keywords. Before all row insert, after all row insert, before insert, after insert, etc. How is the process of PL/SQL compiled? Compilation process includes syntax check, bind, and P-code generation process. Syntax checking checks the PL/SQL codes for compilation errors. When all the errors are corrected, a storage address is assigned to the variables that hold the data. It is called binding. P-code is a list of instructions for the PL/SQL engine. P-code is stored in the database for the named blocks and is used the next time it is executed. Differentiate between syntax and runtime errors. A syntax error can be easily detected by a PL/SQL compiler. For example, incorrect spelling. A runtime error is handled with the help of exception handling section in an PL/SQL block. For example, select into statement, which does not return any rows. Explain commit, rollback, and save point. For a commit statement, the following is true. That is, other users can see the data changes made by the transaction. The logs acquired by the transaction are released. The work done by the transaction becomes permanent. A rollback statement gets issued when the transaction ends, and the following is true. The work done in a transaction is undone as if it is never issued. All logs acquired by the transaction are released. It undoes all the work done by the user in a transaction. With the save point, only part of the transaction can be undone. Differentiate between percentile row type and type record. Row type is used when a query returns an entire row of a table or view. Type record, on the other hand, is used when a query returns column of different tables or views. Define implicit and explicit cursors. A cursor is implicit by default. The user cannot control or process the information in that cursor. If a query returns multiple rows of data, the program defines an explicit cursor. This allows the application to process each row sequentially as the cursor returns it. Explain mutating table error. It occurs when a trigger tries to update a row that is currently using. It is fixed by using the views or temporary tables. So database selects one and updates the other. When is a declare statement required? Declare statement is used by PL SQL anonymous blocks such as with standalone non-stored procedures. If it is used, it must come first in a standalone file. What is stored procedure? A stored procedure is a sequence of statements or a named PL SQL block which performs one or more specific functions. It is similar to a procedure in other programming languages. It is stored in the database and can be repeatedly executed. It is stored as schema object. It can be nested, invoked, and parameterized. What are the advantages of stored procedure? Modularity, extensibility, reusability, maintainability, and one-time compilation are the advantages of stored procedure. What are the cursor attributes used in PL SQL? Percentile is open. It checks whether the cursor is open or not. Percentile row count. It returns the number of rows affected by DML operations. Insert, delete, update, select. Percentile found. If it checks whether cursor has fetched any row. If yes, it is true. Percentile not found. It checks whether cursor has fetched any row. If it is no, then it is true. What is consistency? Consistency simply means that each user sees the consistent view of the data. Consider an example. There are two users A and B. A transfers money to B's account. Here, the changes are updated in A's account, debit, but until it will be updated to B's account, that is credit, till then other users can't see the debit of A's account. After the debit of A and credit of B, one can see the updates. That is called consistency. What is the importance of SQL code and SQLERRM? SQL code returns the value of the number of errors for the last encountered error, whereas SQLERRM returns the message for the last error. If a cursor is open, how can we find in a APL SQL block? The percentile is open cursor status variable can be used. What packages are available to PL SQL developers? The packages available are DBMS series of packages such as DBMS underscore pipe, DBMS underscore DDL, DBMS underscore lock, DBMS alert, DBMS output, DBMS job, DBMS utility, DBMS SQL, DBMS transaction, UTL underscore file. Explain polymorphism in PL SQL. Polymorphism is a feature of object-oriented programming. It is the ability to create a variable, an object, or a function with multiple forms. PL SQL supports polymorphism in the form of program unit overloading inside a member function or package. Unambiguous logic must be avoided while overloading is being done. Mention what are the different methods to trace the PL SQL code. Tracing the code is a crucial technique to measure the code performance during the runtime. Different methods for tracing includes DBMS application info, DBMS underscore trace, DBMS underscore session, and DBMS underscore monitor, TRC SCSS, and TK proof utilities.